The War Within is less than a week away, and you're probably asking yourself, what class should I play for Battleground Blitz? Whether you're someone who's going to be playing PvP for their very first season, a seasoned PvE player wanting to give PvP a try, or maybe you're a veteran looking to swap roles and would like a good place to start, I've got you covered. What's up fellas, Moon here, and today I'll be going over the best classes to play in Battleground Blitz if you're a beginner. Let's get started. So, what makes a class beginner friendly? I'm going to be giving my recommendations based off of a few principles. The first of which is the ease of access in picking the class up. Is this a class that has an in-depth damage or healing rotation which has several stacking modifiers to consider, or is this a class that can execute their role in a straightforward manner? Essentially, how many keybinds or buttons does this class need to do its job? The second thing I'll be taking a look at is its overall strength in Battlegrounds. While some classes can be considered easy, that doesn't innately mean they're going to be the most powerful either. Additionally, if you're learning a class, you'll have a lot more fun going about the learning process if you're able to get some immediate success without much effort. These classes I've picked out offer a low enough skill floor to be effective and have fun while you're still on your path to learning the class's full potential. The third thing I'm going to be looking at is class utility. Does this class or specialization have enough tools at their disposal to be effective in a solo queue environment? I understand that not everyone has a healer friend to be able to duo queue with, so I'm going to be keeping this in mind when making my recommendations. The last thing I'm going to be looking at is mobility. As Battleground Blitz focuses on objective-based play, having the tools needed to reach certain objectives or be able to peel out of others in a timely manner is going to be critical for having an impact on your games. With that out of the way, let's jump into the class recommendations. So for both tank and melee DPS, I'm going to be recommending picking up a Demon Hunter. With respect to the tank role first, Vengeance Demon Hunter is arguably one of the strongest tanks in Battlegrounds alongside Guardian Druid. It has exceptional mobility for a tank, straightforward defensive cooldowns, and instant cast crowd control and self-peel capabilities. It synergizes well with almost every class, so picking this spec up won't necessarily make you a liability for any of your teammates. On the DPS front, Havoc Demon Hunter is known for having exceptional damage and mobility, which are both key in Battleground Blitz. What makes this considered easy and beginner friendly compared to other melee classes is that it uses less keybinds to reach the same goal while doing damage. Its mobility allows it to do things such as flag carry in the event of there not being a tank present, and peel out of sticky situations to either assault or defend a base. Similarly to its tank specialization, Havoc Demon Hunter has solid defensive cooldowns as well, such as Blur and Darkness, alongside with an immunity with Netherwalk. Havoc Demon Hunter also has access to instant crowd control such as Imprison, Sigil of Misery, Fell Eruption, and Chaos Nova that allows it to effectively land crowd control without the risk of being interrupted. The main weaknesses Demon Hunters face are dealing with roots and being vulnerable in stuns, with the latter being a feature that basically every class struggles with anyways. The gist of what I'm saying is this: you really can't go wrong if you pick a Demon Hunter, and you have the option to play multiple roles should you want to venture into either one. Moving on to the ranged DPS, my personal pick is going to be Marksmanship Hunter. What makes Marksman Hunter so good is that it cannot be kicked while using its abilities, so the hunter needs to be crowd controlled in some type of way to avoid its damage. This means that unlike most other ranged DPS, hunters can get their damage out without the risk of being kicked. Additionally, hunters have access to camouflage, which allows it to double as a stealth class in some maps, making it an exceptional base hitter, or in maps such as Silver Shard Mines, allowing it to play for off carts. Utility-wise, Marksman Hunters have exceptional abilities for zone control such as Tar Trap, instant crowd control such as Scatter Shot and Freezing Trap, albeit the latter is a skill shot, and it has great base spinning potential with abilities such as Volley. Why I picked Marksman Hunter over Beast Mastery for ranged DPS is that while Beast Mastery can be okay in certain situations with its sustained damage, burst damage is what matters significantly more, and Marksman Hunters have some of the best burst damage in the game when it comes to taking down high priority targets such as orb carriers and flag carriers. When it comes to defensive abilities, hunters don't really have a ton of options, but having an immunity with Aspect of the Turtle is fantastic for having a few seconds to breathe in sticky situations. Lastly, we got our healer pick. As a healer main, I feel like I'm going to have the most to say about this one. So, similarly to DPS, having good mobility is going to be key for a good healing class in Battleground Blitz, but we're also going to want to look at its mana management, meaning can it heal for a long time during fights, or does this class run out of mana easily? And we're also going to be taking a look at its cooldowns, if they're proactive cooldowns that you have to use before the damage comes out, or reactive cooldowns that you can use after the damage has occurred. A great beginner healer is going to embody having good mobility, good mana management, and being a reactive healer as opposed to a proactive healer. I feel like healers get lucky here because the most beginner friendly healer also happens to be the strongest battleground healer at the moment, which is none other than Mistweaver Monk. So let's break down Mistweaver healing. You have two main defensive cooldowns, Revival and Life Cocoon, and they're both considered reactive, as well as really powerful in general. Revival can completely mitigate damage over time classes such as Affliction Locks, Shadow Priests, or classes which rely on it for its burst damage like Elemental Shamans, and it does not have a target cap. Meaning if all 8 party members are in range of you, you can in theory hit all of them with one button press. Additionally, you can reduce the cooldown in half by picking up the Peaceweaver PvP talent. Even with the recent nerf to Revival, it's still an insane ability. Life Cocoon is really powerful for protecting flag carriers and orb carriers as well. It's a very straightforward ability with putting a large absorb on a single target. The good thing about both of these abilities is that you don't have to use them before damage comes out to be effective, and having that extra window of time to consider if you really need to use the cooldown or not is fantastic for someone who's learning the class. Monk as a class has phenomenal mobility in general, and you can even find yourself being a viable flag carrier as Mistweaver with that mobility. Having instant crowd control with paralysis and leg sweep makes you super effective with being able to peel, and you even have some zone control as a healer with Ring of Peace. Regarding mana management, having abilities such as Mana Tea be able to restore mana throughout combat is awesome for not going out of mana. And by far the best part about Mistweaver Monk is having access to multiple playstyles. If you're historically a melee DPS player and you want to give healing a try, I think you'll have a ton of fun with the Fistweaver playstyle. If you're someone who prefers a more traditional style of healer, then the casted Mistweaver style would be better for you. It's hard to tell which one will come out on top just yet, as we're still a bit out from Season 1 of The War Within, but if I had to make a prediction now, I believe that casted Mistweaver will be slightly more effective, just because it doesn't require having to be in melee range of an enemy to get its core healing off. Both are insanely fun though, and I personally will be playing Mistweaver as my alt healer for this upcoming expansion. But that'll do it for today's video. I wanted to keep this one short and sweet while answering a question that I've been getting a lot recently as The War Within draws closer. If you enjoy this style of content, it'd mean a lot if you could support the channel, and until next time, this is Moon, signing out.